welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt. With me today is the woman who knows how to set personal boundaries, Alex Standy. This is your daily dose of happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today. And our friend Dan Mangena is back from a visit to Neckar's Island. And if you're not sure where that is or what that is the home of Sir Richard Branson. And he just spent a week there with a whole bunch of very high-powered people. I don't remember what the exact topic was, but I know the gist of it was, what can all these high-powered people do to help the world? I can't tell you more than that. I'm sure that he'll be on next week. He'll give us more information about that. But he was just on a really cool tour, and as a result, he's trying to catch up because you got all the emails and all the stuff that's waiting for you when you're getting home. So he's going to deal with that today. But
vacation.
That's right. But our friend Alex is here, and Alex, you've been through a lot lately, but as usual, you are smiling. I have to ask you, I know I've asked this before, but I'll ask it again. How do you do this? You go through a lot, and you just keep smiling.
Do it or die. I only have two choices, so I went with the latter.
Okay. Well, it works. You're doing very well.
Trying.
That's the best part. Yeah. And we also have special guests joining us from Down Under today. This is a pair who I met through a summit that I did recently that Dan actually also did as well. And it was a summit about podcasting. And we met these people, and they were telling this really cool story, and we were just having a great time and so forth. So I said, I got to get these guys onto the show. And that was about, I think a month and a half ago, something like that. But we were able to pull it off. And so Pete and Monique are here. And I got to tell you, I love the first podcast name they came up with. It was the Dog and Pony Show. I mean, seriously, guys, can you come up with a better name than that one? I don't know of one that is out there that is it's just more blatantly, I am here to market, deal with it. That's like the attitude that's behind it. I love it. So, Monique, Pete, thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having us, and hello everybody from New Zealand. It's such a joy to be here. When I saw you actually, Walt, at the podcast summit, I thought, right, that'll be good. I'd love to be on his podcast as a guest. So my dad always taught me, be careful what you wish for. So and it's so true. We're really chuffed to be here. We created the Dog and Pony Show because Pete and I both are performers. So we're both musicians, and I trained as an actor and a speaker. And Pete's a songwriter, so we're both very creative and used to getting up and performing. And back in Victorian times, the Dog and Pony Show would come to town, and it was announcing that the circus was here. And so you'd have the prancing pony with the dog up on its back, and they would create attraction. And really, when we started working in marketing, we fell into marketing and media, even though I have a television media background as well. We kind of fell into it because we were marketing ourselves, and people went, whoa, I like what you're doing. Can you do that for me? So we always talked about the fact that when we help people with their business, the Dog and Pony Show is coming to town.
That's cool.
That's how the podcast began.
What's no?
Yeah, we don't know who is who yet.
We haven't worked out who's the dog pony.
But that's again.
We won't comment on that one. We'll just leave that one laying. Yes.
I don't like taking the easy one, so I'll let it slide.
Love it. So yeah, you just gave us like the early introduction of what happened, but this has been an ongoing thing. It's been one really interesting experience, one success after another, which is. That's kind of different from what most people experience. So just talk about that for a bit. Talk about some of the things that have happened, and talk about how it happened.
Okay, well, there's a bit of a big backstory here. So first of all, if we come back to the name of this podcast, LOA Today, right? I'm a massive quantum physics practitioner, and I grew up with a dad who was a quantum mechanic, and that was my normal. I didn't know that back in the 70s in conservative New Zealand, that wasn't normal. I thought everybody's dad got up and spoke to groups of people about, thoughts of things, and where you focus your attention is what you manifest. I thought that was normal. So before Pete and I met, I was a musician actually and a magician. I've done a lot of things.
Apparently, yeah.
And I remember being in not a great place, and I remember thinking, I want to be in a better relationship. And so I am going quite deep. This was 10 years ago, actually. And I started saying to myself, I'm grateful for the love that has entered my life, and to give back to that love that's entered my life, I will love myself. And it was this long thing that I did every single day. And 30 days later, I was walking out of the relationship that I was in, and 12 hours after that, Pete and I got together.
So nice.
Best friends, like friends from day one. And then we noticed that we had just so many commonalities. We're storytellers, even though I'm doing all the talking, which is quite normal. We're both storytellers. We both love learning things about people. We both are very creative, visionary thinkers. And every time we both align that vision together, I won't say it's like magic that it happens, but it's that collective energy creates that opportunity. So, Pete, your background's really different from mine, though, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've got an IT background. I retrained as an adult into IT, which is called basically second chance learner. And I had the opportunity to build my way up to being the technical lead in a Maori university over here called Te Wānanga o Aotearoa. And we rolled out a program for second chance learners to learn computer skills in schools. And we ran 12,000 adult students through that course.
Wow.
And so I got to pay it back again to other people, get them going as well. So that's kind of my thing that I really enjoy, is seeing those moments where people go, oh, I get it now, and having an opportunity, getting an opportunity. But our podcasting kind of started about 8 years ago. We recorded a couple of podcasts for a business association, and we did it on video as well. And we thought, that seems to be a thing. And then we started a show called The Pete Monique Show Friday. And all it was on Friday night, we would go live streaming for about 2 hours and just talk smack.
So we were like the Wayne's World of New Zealand.
Yeah. So we just had our little segments, and then we just made people laugh, and we had important news of the week, and we
read bad horoscopes
and just anything you could think of. We just sat there on Friday night, twisters, and everyone was, obviously it was through YouTube and Facebook, mostly Facebook, and people would comment, from around the world, and we would then comment back to them live, and it was this beautiful interactive thing. And we went, there's something in this. There's something about this format that is going to take off. Well, it took 6 years to take off.
It's a slow takeoff.
As it does.
So we were very early adopters. We were extremely bleeding edge, but now it's taking off. And of course, everyone's doing it. Like even our news stations here do it, with their podcast, video podcasting, and taking in people, response from social media and everything. So that's how mainstream it's now becoming. So that's a good thing. So we cut our teeth just going the hard way and going alone and just doing it. And we built up a following, and then we kind of had a big...
We got sponsors.
Yep.
People with giving us car sponsorship.
Yep.
Food sponsorship, a lot of wine sponsorship.
Sponsorship.
Clothing sponsorship.
We ended up being sponsored by a costume house, and deal out costumes to people. And so basically what it was, and you can look for people like Freya if you want, but it was pretty much what's Pete going to turn up in this week. So I must confess, one stage I was Queenie from Blackadder.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My favourite was you as Elsa from Frozen.
They even
I would have died.
A $100 wig for free. They literally I had the beautiful. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
This gorgeous blonde plait. It was just amazing. Just all sorts of things.
So
you were Colonel Sanders.
I was Colonel Sanders one time. I've been in Oompa Loompa.
Oompa Loompa, yeah, we did that.
And what was so lovely is that we weren't taking ourselves too seriously, which is the same as the Dog and Pony Show. The Dog and Pony Show was our educational podcast, which we did for a few weeks, and then it got so busy. We got so busy because we were giving out this marketing advice. So it was almost like every time we're doing this content, we're constantly giving, whether it's fun, whether it's education, whatever it is, giving. And I guess it's the law of reciprocity, isn't it? The more that you give, I don't even want back. I'm already busy. But it just happens. Yeah. And since then, like everybody, yes, we've had ups and downs, but we always focus on those beautiful up moments because that's the way we're programmed. And through that, since then we've reached 200 million people. We were some of the first in New Zealand to live stream with multiple cameras. The solution Pete created has been adopted by mainstream media companies.
Wow.
Like, it was crazy. And we thought, we've got a few views here and a few views there. Oh, maybe it's not really having an impact. But it had impact because 6 years later, 8 years later, people will come up to us, even on the street, and go, wow, you're Pete and Monique. I remember that time you.
Mm-hmm.
You never know when something you say is going to have a profound impact, whether it's comedy, whether it's education, whether it's just a little bit of wisdom that you've gathered through learnt experience or life experience, whatever. You never know where that's going to land, which is why things like this, like what you're doing, Will, what you're both doing, are so immensely important. So important.
I love that.
So, yeah, that's kind of what we're doing.
Kind of a catch up. And our latest offering, what we're doing is the Dog and Pony Show was there for COVID times. It was like we couldn't get out. We were locked down in New Zealand. We thought, how do we help these businesses pivot? So we just jumped in and just gave away our knowledge freely, just as much as we could. If anyone could, we could help them. We met people after lockdown, and they said to me, "Wow, we really loved that. It really helps." So that's what works for me. That's my payback right there. I don't need money from it.
I know the joy,
enough, yeah. And then now we've started Guide to Better Living. So that's guidetobetterliving.tv is the website, and then we were sitting there and we thought we could do a podcast, and we went, why don't we take it to TV?
Might as well.
And we had an access to a TV channel over here, so we did. So we turned it into a TV show. So that hits. We just did our 12th episode last night.
And we've had 1 million people
growing,
on YouTube. We've reached 1 million people with that show.
Yeah.
And every episode reaches probably about 115 to 120,000 on the channel. It's just a little TV channel here in New Zealand. But again, people are watching, they're messaging us, and they're thanking us for sharing other people's stories and other people's wisdom, which is, I mean, the same with podcasting. When you get to interview people and you share their story, I think it's such an honor for us as platform creators, as hosts, as entrepreneurs, to be able to share other people's voices. That's kind of my gig.
I agree with that. I love that. And I also love the story, the way you're telling it there. I have a question that I can just tell what the answer is going to be, but I got to ask it anyway. Like you said, when you were starting out, you get a few listeners here, a few viewers there, and so forth, and it doesn't seem like you're getting anywhere. How do you get through that time?
I don't know if it's just blind faith or blind ignorance.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
I think so. For me, my dad, I come back to my dad. He always taught me to follow your joy as much as possible. And when things are and too hard, I consciously come back and go, why is that not working? Why is that not flow? If it's fun, why wouldn't you keep on doing it? Mm-hmm. And so long as, and we've taught a lot of business owners, so a lot of business owners that we've worked with we teach them about how to market themselves and get themselves out there with their business, and they get so excited by that they forget to do the monetizable work because they just want to play all the time. So, and then there's that whole methodology that you've got to do the hard stuff first and then do the fun stuff at the end, because it's like this treat. I actually do the complete opposite. I do the fun stuff first because that's what energizes me, and I try to teach my clients that. And once you've done that, but give it a time frame, get on and do the stuff that isn't so much flow that you have to do, because it's going to turn into your revenue stream. Because there's nothing worse than doing your joy, like it's being Superman all the time, but Clark Kent needs to pay the bills.
Right.
So that's my philosophy. I'm not sure. What are your thoughts around that?
The question is an extremely good question, because you can look at your views and you can look at what you're doing, and you just sometimes you can sit there and think, oh, it's just not working, it's not happening. How I got through that is to evolve, is to look at it and go, okay, the concept, I trust my concept. The concept is right. I know I'm here to do this, but I haven't got my angle right yet. I haven't got my You know, it's like that on
Oh.
the Transformers where they fiddle with that thing and it all spark or whatever it is, and you finally get the code right, and it just opens into this amazing big thing. So that's involved. Don't throw it all away. Believe in yourself that your concept is right, but you don't have all the answers all of the time at the same time. You've got to change and go, right, okay, I like it. I'm going to do this podcast, but look, maybe my subject matter needs a little bit of a tweak. Maybe my audience is not who I thought it was. And so self-reflection and self-growth and self-learning, and go, okay, well, let's do it. So we've done that. We changed our audience around slightly. We changed our message. We changed our tone. We changed, and the latest version of it is, we had a version of it 10 years ago, 9 years ago, and we called it Get a Life. And it was getalife.nz. And it's like, we wanted to help people
Get a life. Become
like,
the coach of their own life. Empower themselves.
If something isn't working, then look at it and change. You can't get the same outcome, right? And people looked at us and went, well, I've already got a life. What do I need to get a life for? And so it was like, we're doing the same things what we do now. We've just changed it and called it Guide to Better Living. You see how that's a complete evolving of that same concept. And in the middle of it, we went all over the place like you do as an entrepreneur, and then you find something that starts working finally, hold on to it and never change it again.
It's like in the film, The Fifth Element.
Oh, yeah.
When Lilu stands in the middle and you've got all those 4 pieces, and then the light comes through her because all the pieces are in alignment. Yeah. And I think that's the secret formula. It's exactly what you're talking about as well.
Don't throw it away. Don't give up. Just keep looking until you get those bits right.
That's really interesting, too. Well, first of all, you said exactly what I thought you were going to say about the joy, because the joy really is what keeps you going. It's what's kept me going all these years. It's what keeps all my co-hosts going, because that's why you do it. You do it because you're enjoying it. And I'm really glad you brought that out. Not surprised, but really glad you brought that out. But the part that I'm really liking here is you're talking about how you don't really worry about having to rebrand. You just do it because, like you said, you want to readjust the audience you're aiming toward and how you're reaching out to them. That kind of goes against the way it's usually taught. And I know because I was one of the ones who was taught. So, I had direct experience. But that's not the way it's usually taught.
We don't do usual.
Good.
We create our own usual, to be fair. At the moment, we are we're behind a campaign for a guy who is running for Mayor of Auckland. Mm-hmm. Mayor of Auckland is the second biggest role in politics in New Zealand.
Really?
So we're his campaign managers. Yeah, it's a really big deal because Auckland is the biggest population in New Zealand. They generate the biggest amount of revenue for the country and that sort of thing. And part of so we have a couple of members in our team as well. And part of what we're educating our team about is the fact that you can't use the same language to people in South Auckland as you would to people in North Auckland or West Auckland or East Auckland. Mm-hmm. It's called in media the chameleon effect. Speak to the people in their language, and then you'll create a more a trusted connection. And the same goes with a podcast and the importance of niching, knowing your audience. If you're creating a podcast, say, called Get a Life, and these people are then offended by that, you're not going to build that audience.
No.
So constantly tweaking and rebranding. We've created so many brands over the years, and a lot of them have just been great ideas. Very few have really just gone, wow, this is it. Guide to Better Living is probably our best iteration yet. And the fact that, we recently got contacted about one person who appeared on our show from ITV in the UK.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
This is, this is crazy. And I'm so amazed. Several of our guests now have been approached by mainstream TV media to be guests in their show, to be guests in their news article. So that for me, even more so than our guests going, I love this experience. I love this. When it's other people talking about your people, that's marketing done right. And so we know that we've finally got that fit. But it's about not being too stuck. It's about, like Pete said, having that vision, but not being too stuck in the detail of how that might happen, I think. Yeah. And not being too, my idea is the only one. The vision is definitely the right one. but I'm not kind of, I'm not precious, not at all. I just want to get it right so it works.
It's the opposite of build it and they will come. It's the exact, it's like, you know, who is there out there that actually wants what I've got? And when I do it with our clients, I had this matrix that we go across you've got the product and you've got the pain points and you've got the solution, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, there's no point in having a product that nobody wants. And if they don't have a pain point, and then you're trying to sell them a solution they don't want. So I guess it's the same. Like this is a product. A podcast is giving people something they need. So you better be finding the people first and giving them the actual need. It's like a lot of our clients, they come to us and they've got this one great idea they've got this tagline and they just think it's amazing. Or they've got this product, they just think it's incredible, and they've got 6,000 units sitting on the shelf, and they go, I need to sell these units. And we go, well, what pain point do they solve?
Why haven't they sold already?
But it's beautiful, and it's got this. I've got this tagline, and I love it. And it's like, you're not solving anybody's problem,
right?
You're not buying, and they go, they have that moment where they almost fall to pieces because they're clinging onto this rock in a stream, and that's their one big idea, and it's going to be the big one. And then we have to kind of prise their fingers off the rock and say, go with the flow, get in the stream and start swimming. Just drop. Okay, it was a great idea, but it's not the best idea. How about we look at it this way, or we look at it that way, and then most of them come around. There's a couple of people that just won't give up their idea. They just, when we can't help those people, but we can help people to, and it's we have a favourite story about the shreddies. I don't even know if it's real, but apparently in England there's a little woven basket of wheat called shreddies, and it's like you get a whole lot of them, and it's a breakfast cereal. Mm-hmm. And they were flagging. Apparently, this is the story: is their sales were flagging. So they got these little square parcels of wheat, and they turned it on its side and photographed it on its side on an angle, and they said, now in new diamond shape.
Oh, no.
Beautiful. And apparently the sales took off.
Sales went
new diamond shape.
That is genius. That is genius.
It is. And we use that all the time. That's the evolution I'm talking about. It's like, take it and don't throw it out. Just tweak it.
Yeah.
You might be one little tweak away from your biggest success.
Yeah. Even here in New Zealand, McDonald's, bless them, said chicken McNuggets now made with 100% real chicken.
Now? What do you mean now?
Now.
All right.
But it worked. So there's always an angle. So just because somebody coming back to your question, Will, what do you do when you don't have views? Shreddies it.
Yeah, I love that. I also love something else that you said, Monique, about how, I don't remember exactly how you phrased it, but the gist of it was you've had so many things that you've tried over the years, but only a tiny percentage have actually, played out and worked out the way you wanted to, which is a great concept, I think, because it kind of reinforces what I hear a lot from all the various people I've interviewed here on the show who've been very successful, and that is how many failures they went through to get to their success. They don't even think about them as failures, but how many things that didn't work before they got to the thing that worked. So I got to ask you, if you look back over the last 5 years or so, how many brands do you think you've come up with?
Oh no, more than that. Probably 50 or 60.
Uh-huh.
We've got around the house. We have notebooks. I've got 5 just beside me, and our notebooks are a mix of client notes because we have to keep them, right? Because a few years down the track, clients will come back to us going, remember that time 5 years ago we were talking? And so I reference everything. We come up with new brands all the time. And that comes back to joy and fun. So it'll be sort of, 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and that's when one of us will start to spark. And it is so funny. And Pete, usually it's Pete, hey, what about if we did? And as soon as that happens, I think, God, we're going to be here for at least another hour or 2 hours throwing around ideas all the time. Can't help it. everything. I just see there's such potential and possibility everywhere. I mean, at Christmas, I was talking to somebody who hand makes candles, and I thought to myself, well, there's a good idea of like personalized candles, because they're really hard to get here in New Zealand. All I need to do is get a label maker, and then she can do the candles for me, and then I'll integrate the software into a website. Then people can send through their orders, and you can get these custom candles. You do your design, a little bit like Vistaprint, but in our own website. I'm going to call it Get Gifted. I did all the stickers. I did all the cards and everything. I did my first order, and then I thought, oh no, I'm bored with that now. Idea. How much fun did I have while I did it? It was so much fun. More than doing the orders for other people, I did it for me. I loved it. It was great.
That is fabulous. Now, the question that goes along with it, of course, I mean, we talked just now about the different brands that you've created, but you also talked about tweaking the brands. So over that same period of time, how many tweaks do you think you've done to brands?
Oh,
They're kind of ongoing, really. Just refining.
So
we have books full of drawings that I've drawn of how they all work and fit together and what we but just the way I approach it.
So many. Hurts my head.
The way it's within the overarching brand. It's like a tri brand. So you've got three parts to it. So you've got the personification of the brand. So if for example your brand was a movie star or some rock star or a business star, whatever, who would they be? Would they be? Is your brand Beyonce? Is it Richard Branson? Is it is it Arnie? Is it who is it? How do they come across? Is it Grace Kelly? Is it Diana?
Mm-hmm.
Who is your brand? And so that's the first bit, and to get people thinking about the tone of voice and the tone of everything, the way they share, what they do.
And I'll just jump in to support that. That's usually because most of the people that want to work with us are usually a personal brand. So they might produce products or they might have a service, but the one thing that we realize with most of them that we need to build is that personal appearance or how they take that out to market. Yep. Sorry, you jump in.
That's right. And then the second part of the Tri brand is the business brand. So this is what values the business stands for. So you think Ferrari, you think Toyota, you know exactly what car you're going to get and why. So you think Ferrari, luxury, opulence, flash. You think Toyota, it's going to get you there and it's going to last. And
good family car.
Good family car. So the business values. So Toyota built a business on being completely reliable. Ferrari's built a business on being completely just
fabulous
and
loud and sexy.
And you can't drive it because every kilometre you put on it devalues it. So it's the looks and show. It's not for driving. So that's and then the third part is the product brand, which is the value exchange. So what is somebody going to get when they have your product? And by mixing that together in a beautiful way, so like Monique said, some people are more personal brand than product. Some people are more business brand. They don't want to be the face of their product. They want to hide behind the business or the product. They want to just sell it. So mixing together for our people, that's kind of the way I look at it. So when you say the tweaks that we make in the changes, it's usually around one of those things. It's like, okay, have we got our personification of this brand? Do people realize who they're dealing with when they want to work with this with us? Or is it have we got our business brand right? Do people understand what we stand for? Do they get it? The first thing they see, when they see our brand, do they go, don't quite get that? Or do they go, I instantly know what this business is all about? And then our product is obviously, we have multiple products, so we're always tweaking the products. So, for example, at the moment we're running Get Yourself Ready for Camera to go on TV course, which is a product. And so that's going to have its own kind of unique kind of look and feel around that. But when our main brand is We Do Famous. So when you come to us, you're going to be famous. If you go through our methodologies, you will be out there everywhere, which is what we do. It's what we do for ourselves, so we can do that for you. So when you see that, you go, oh, I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to make me famous. And that's so simple. People get it and go, I want to be famous. And go, okay, let's make you famous. Going to cost you.
But I love it. And I think what I love too is that on the journey that we work with our clients, that's a constant evolution as well. So, for example, at the moment, we've got a whole stable of beautiful, beautiful humans who are coming to us. And one in particular stands out. She's her name is Elizabeth Herr. I have to give her a shout out. She is in New Zealand. She's a nonverbal communication and human behaviour expert. And she's absolutely brilliant, always classified herself as a textbook introvert. And then studied human behavior, and now you should see her. To go through this process with her, to help her find her voice, to help her step into her own magnificence, get her on camera going live for the first time, and see her even pushing through her own glass ceiling, through the evolution, the step-by-step evolution of this methodology, which is literally both of us going, go on then, you can do it. We've seen you do it. Go on, give it a go. Like, it's that simple. And they're going, all right, Pete, Monique said I can do it. I'm going to give it a go. She has literally skyrocketed. And to see this evolution, we got her on television. And the head of the TV channel that we broadcast through rang me going, that woman was fantastic. She needs her own show.
Wow.
I mean, this is crazy. It is crazy, but it works. So it's all this, like Pete said, it's this beautiful fusion of getting those elements right. I come back to the fifth element again. It's earth, fire, all those elements, and then the light comes through you. It's just like Lilu having that moment. And if anybody listening hasn't watched the fifth element, go and do it. It's brilliant.
One of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
You get it, right? It's just that moment. I feel like that's what we're here to do. Help the light shine through.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not hard to see how you would be an expert at that, because your light shines through just through what you're saying. So, I mean, it's not like you're lacking light. There's not a light shortage going on in New Zealand right now.
We always tell people we're just mucking around.
That's good, though. I like that. That's very relaxed. It's very genuine. It's authentic. I'm sure that plays a major role, because if you weren't authentic, first of all, you wouldn't have anybody really buying from you because they wouldn't believe you. But secondly, you're also training other people how to get there, how to get to that place. I mean, I don't know exactly what your program is all about. I also have to ask you a question. Why do people want to become famous? I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm just kind of curious. Why do they want to become famous?
Yeah, a really good question. And we actually put our definitions of fame on our business cards somewhere. So again, we're not beholden to traditional methodologies of, here is my business card. We've got them somewhere, but at the end of the day, we're more Google searchable than we are, physical business cards. There's a concept here. So in the world, there's still this concept that television. Because after I did my theatre and film degree, I actually did a postgrad at the TV training school in Television New Zealand. So I have family who come from broadcasting and theatre, and that's kind of my heritage here in New Zealand. And so I knew there was an allure with TV, and this exclusivity, and there's this concept of fame, and I think fame for me is not about ego, not at all. People understand that the more famous you are, the more recognized you are. Mm-hmm. In a business sense, I take it to mean, from my heart-centric woo-woo place, I'm so not woo-woo, but you get what I mean, that it's about if you've got something, a way to make somebody's life better, why wouldn't you leverage that out to as many people as possible and make the world a better place? So that's me, to quantify that. People understand in an instant what fame means. So they understand in the same way that you understand what Ferrari represents. So fame is, or being famous is the kind of the leverage springboard that I use to quantify how I help people make the world better.
So is that really the motivation among people who become your clients on the We Do Famous platform?
Yep.
Absolutely.
What happens is we have attracted, and all about that is we've attracted people who want to do something good for the world. They had the social entrepreneurship idea that they want to do, and they just literally don't know how to get themselves out there.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant, beautiful way of doing it, and they don't know how to monetize. So they've got the two biggest issues is nobody knows about them, and they're not making any money. So as an entrepreneur, as a social entrepreneur, you can't give something you don't have. So if I wanted to give fresh water to some tribe and wherever, I can't do it if I don't have the water first, So
Right.
I've got to get the water. So these people have this beautiful idea, but they don't have the goods. They can't deliver it.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're saying is, like my business card is very similar to what I said. So if your brand stood for all the right things you believe in, and you knew you could make a difference in the world for whatever reason, wouldn't you want everyone to know about it? So that's kind of where I come from. Is so to be famous in that sense is to have people instantly recognize, and it comes back to that tripart. It's not necessarily about the ego or the person. It could be the product. It could be your business could be building homes for the homeless.
Mm-hmm.
If nobody knows about you, the government doesn't know about you, so they're not funding you. The businessman down the road might want to donate to you, but he doesn't know about you. There's all these reasons why people don't know about you. We're doing the opposite. We're going to make your brand, your business in this case, famous. So when people go, oh yeah, it's those guys. They build homes for the homeless. I've heard of them, and then that mind share, it takes off. At some stage, it becomes self-fulfilling. Because then someone else goes, oh yeah, I've heard of them. Oh, I saw them on TV the other day. Oh yeah, they were on blah blah blah. And suddenly everyone knows about who you are. So that in that sense, that business is now famous. So it's like your brand. It's LOA today. You're famous for a particular thing. And without that recognition, you'd be sitting talking to two people.
Well, I was at one point. I mean, that's the way it starts.
Exactly.
Actually, I was talking to one person. It was my wife doing the first episode with me, and we knew nobody else was listening. It was us.
And so in a way now you're embracing that famousness because now you can reach more people. You could do more good. That's kind of how we approach. It's what we mean when we mean we do famous. Is we will make you, whoever it is, so well recognized and people understand instantly who you are, what you stand for, and what value you will get if they come through you. And
it works. A few years ago we got taken to India for work to represent New Zealand products. So one of the other jobs I've had over the years is I've been a TV shopping presenter here in New Zealand on television for New Zealand and Australia. But wait, there's more.
You have that lingo down pat. You're good at it.
And so we got taken to India, and the most incredible thing happened because of all this work we'd done in YouTube, as an example. When we came, we got taken to an event. There was 250 people there. Oh. We walked in, and people were coming up to us going, "Pete, Monique, such a pleasure to have you here." They knew who we were. They knew what we stood for. They could ask us questions about how we were helping businesses or the products that we had worked with. And that for me, that's my job, or actually it's not even a job for me, because again, it comes back to fun and joy. That's my thing, my purpose, my voice, my energy. That's where I'm meant to be. That's what I'm here to do. And I'm helping other people through this platform, through these platforms. It's kind of all the right thing.
So I look at it. Sorry, I just look at it like I'm building the stage. So I build the platform or the stage, and then Monique is the MC on the stage. And so as the MC, she gets to introduce amazing things, products, people, concepts, without me building the stage. So I run all the production. So I'm mixing the cameras and making sure the sound's right and all that sort of stuff. So without being sitting on, it's my couch that you're sitting on, you know. You don't
true.
get on the couch if I don't like you.
Yeah.
Some people think it's Monique running the show.
No.
She's the MC of the show.
And I love being in
and
that role.
she takes over that bit and just makes it magic for everybody. So the combination of us both, you couldn't do it any other way, you know.
I'd be screwed, to be fair.
Well, it makes total sense. Because you guys both, like you say, you both bring different skill sets, and they're skill sets that intermesh beautifully. I mean, it's almost like you were hand picking each other for this.
Yeah. We think so too. So we've just celebrated our 10th anniversary 2 nights ago.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. And we were sitting there going, 10 years. What the hell were we thinking? But we must have been thinking the same thing, because we've just done the same thing together for 10 years, and it's still a lot of fun.
That's
the way
good.
it should be. That's fabulous. Excellent. I love that.
We've got a thing.
We've got a thing. We don't know what it is, but we've got a thing.
Yeah.
But by the way, one of our live stream listeners, a regular listener named Luke, he says, my best friend from college lives in Auckland. So you got another connection going on there. I'll let you know about that.
It's so cool. Hello. I may know them. There's only 1.7 million people here, so we're probably neighbours.
So you're one of those people who knows all 1.7 million. I mean, they're like jokes about that, right? The person who knows everybody in the entire section of the country. Yeah, I get it.
It is not unusual for us to walk through the town and to be greeting people, or people to be greeting us. It is a bit of a village here, I'm not going to lie.
That's nice, though. That's cool. I like that. Now, you also, when we were talking earlier about the tweaking side, you were kind of alluding to how the tweaking is an association with what you find out about your audience, and you're changing audiences and so forth, which is kind of like on the topic of building an audience. So talk about that side of it for a bit. I mean, we talked about the branding side and how you're tweaking the brand, but there's also the people you're reaching out to on behalf of whoever it is you're working with. How does that work?
Well, here's the thing. I thought I was pretty much number illiterate until I started learning, thanks to this guy, about social media. I realized that social media was a great way for me to promote myself as an entertainer or as a speaker and things like that. And then when Pete introduced me to the metrics, I was able to quantify what those numbers meant with regards to human behavior. And so I could start to see, oh, okay, if I do this, they really peak here, but then they're not so interested here. And I could start to map out using data how people were feeling and reacting to the content that we created. So I really started to dive into the numbers. It was like stepping into the matrix and understanding the ones and zeros and going, wow, this tells us about what people like and who they are. So for me, learning about the data and getting over that fear of numbers was just transformational. And now, it's with our new iteration product guide to better living, I can see in the numbers and the live streams and things like that, the content that people are really interested in. So, for example, we've got one of our contributors is a New Zealand MasterChef judge. And so we open with a content piece like kitchen hacks or recipes from him. And it's such a great way to open the show because, he's got a big following here in New Zealand. He's really super famous. But what that means too is that our clients who come in afterwards, they're getting exposed to different audiences. So it was about looking at the numbers and going, what's the best flow? What creates the longest term engagement based on testing it, trying it, reviewing it, refining it. That was pretty much it for me. Your thoughts?
Yes. So what I did is quite early on, I realised the power of distribution. And what I mean by that is we, at one stage, working with a business association here in New Zealand, we got the content was filmed by one person on behalf of these businesses, and they had they did 4 half-hour shows. So it was kind of like eight quarter-hour shows, but we put 2 of them together. And what we did is we streamed it. When we put it out on TV, we live streamed it simultaneous on 19 different Facebook pages.
Wow.
So we went to
Pete built the stage.
We got every single one of them cross-posted from the business. So it didn't just go out on our platform, it went out on their platform. And basically, on that particular night, we flooded South Marlborough with this content. So probably everyone in South Melbourne. I mean, no, not these guys again. Bloody hell, it's on. Oh my God. Get off my social media. In fact, we get told that all the time. It's like, stop
you guys are everywhere.
Stop flooding my timeline. And so that's kind of, that power of distribution is the key. Is we partnering with other people to use their audience as well, and to combine them into
entertain their audience.
Combine them into one big audience. So I'm always looking for ways. So when we go out on, like for instance, last night we went out on Simon's page, and we just started doing that, and our numbers jumped, straight away, because it's like, right, of course, people want to see that. So it's about using his page as well as our page, as well as cross-posting it to the other people involved. So,
and that has a benefit for him, because he's getting access to audiences that he doesn't have.
Oh, sure.
So the power of the collaboratives, those partnerships, is so important. Yeah. So last night in our show, we had 5 different brands that were represented in one 30-minute show. And so all those pages were streaming, plus the pages we own. And it was all that. It's like, with this new concept, we're creating, again, a little village of contributors that want to support each other. And it's a beautiful thing that, they're commenting on each other's pages and each other's content and supporting each other. And it doesn't matter if you are a teeny tiny little business or you're a master chef, we're all in it together. We're all playing the same game. And I was telling somebody the other day, with regards to, big time media, sometimes there are people that are spending a lot of money shouting really loud in digital, whereas for us, it's always been about little whispers out to the right people that kind of, it gets the widest spread. So when Pete joked before that people are going, stop flooding my timeline, it's not us doing it. We lead a very quiet life at home. We don't go out much. We don't do much. But it's using those platforms to do that work for us.
Right.
That's been the magic and the partnership. Sorry, I jumped in, but I had so much to share.
That's great. I just guess, to finish off that, my bit of that is, it's in a lot of, like, we don't do things normally. I'm just making it up here as I'm going along. We're accidental marketers. Instead of niching down into one platform and trying hard to bring people to it, I just thought, well, why not go to where the people are?
Yeah.
And the people were on social media. They're on their phones. So it's like, how do I take, this is six years ago when we started streaming, how do I take what I've got and get it out to as many people as possible? So I use Restream.io as my chosen technology that I tried and liked, and I've stuck with it just because it works. So I go out through multiple Facebook pages and multiple YouTube channels, and then at the same time, and then I use cross-posting. So we set up cross-posting on Facebook from to get it all. So basically, when we go live, and going live is been our thing. So going live, I'm still quite amused when I find someone who's still never ever been live on Facebook in their whole entire life. It's like, wow, why wouldn't you? The people are sitting there, they are waiting to consume what you want to give them. So just get in front of them and find out, give it a go, just try it and see whether people like it or not, so we get people going live, and then they all go, oh my God, this is amazing. Wow, why haven't I done this before? And so it's like, we just keep doing it, go live every day. People are sitting, waiting to consume. So
and never in our lives before have we all had the same opportunity as mainstream media. You're your own roving reporter, you're your own paparazzi, you're your own promoter. If you've got a voice, if you've got a reason to make the world better, why wouldn't you?
Yep.
Going live is a great way to do it. You can't hide. You have to be your most authentic self when you're live, and to be able to capture that as well. Easy, great, no post-production, brilliant, saves you time, saves you money.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Right, yeah. You have your own TV
broadcast studio
in your pocket.
Do it.
Incredible.
I love that. That is fabulous. I have to admit that you're really the first people I've ever spoken to who really do embrace the live stream, embrace the live. There's you're recording too, I'm sure, but that's like that's a second thought to you. I mean, for myself, I mean, I do a podcast. A podcast is a recording. That's basically what that is. You're doing exactly the opposite. Everything is about the live with you.
I just love it. I love it. I think because we're both performers. So we're used to being in front of a live audience.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I worked for the TV shopping channel, I said to the producers, I said, let me go live. I want to do live TV. HSN and QVC, they do live. Let me go live. And so it was a huge risk for them. But I said, you need to trust me. And I remember the first time we went live, in both countries, and I was doing a show, co-hosting a show with the ugliest alpaca cardigan you have ever seen. It was ugly, but damn, it was warm. It was huge. It was the sort of thing that if you had to go and watch your kids playing sport on a cold winter's morning, you would put that on and you would be as snug as a bug in a rug. And so I thought, I've got to think of my key points. How, if I was in front of somebody, how would I sell that to them? And that's what I brought to the show. And it was so hilarious. 30 minutes of live television. And obviously, you know, I'd been doing live streaming with Pete by this stage, so I was used to switching it on. And so we went live on TV, and about 15 minutes into the show, my producer comes in with a whiteboard and a glum face, and I thought, oh no, what have I done? And I see him writing out of the corner of my eye while I'm talking to TV, and I've got somebody talking here, right?
Right.
And he's writing on the whiteboard, and then he said, Monique, your alpaca cardigan has sold out.
That's crazy.
So there's something about in the moment of being live with people, there is a different energy, because we see it all the time when we're doing pre-recorded stuff as well. People have a fear that when you I think this is what happens, is that when you're doing pre-recorded content, it doesn't matter if I screw up because it can be edited.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Sure.
I rely on that. So there is not the same edge as when you're live, and you just have to cover. I remember doing another show where we were hammering these things onto the wall using a magic tacker. I'm live on TV, and as I'm pushing it into the wall, all the other pictures fell off the wall. How do I cover that? I look at the camera and I go, and that's what happens when you don't use the magic tacker.
Ah, yes. Sure, why not? That works.
We do it in real life every day. We do it when we're talking with our clients. All you're doing when you go live is you're leveraging off that same energy that gets you through a client meeting, that gets you through when you're talking to your kids, that gets you through when you're talking to your partner. It's the same thing. You're just broadcasting it not one-to-one, but one-to-many.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts. Would you agree?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I'm trying to think of anything extra to add there. I think it's just a magic. There's just a magic about it. It's something I just, for some reason, I went, this is going to be a thing. This is going to be what takes off eventually. You know, it took 6 years for people to understand that, you know, you can still get in. And like you say, not many other people are still doing it. But for some reason, one of our brands we started with was the Edutainment Factory. And it was a kids show. We literally started with the kids show on Sunday mornings for an hour. And that's when I bought a live switching unit, and I got the software, and I just started and got 3 cameras, and we went, you know what? They used to make live TV back in the 60s and 70s when it started out. Everything was filmed in front of a live studio audience, and they just had 3 cameras. It's like Bono talks about having 3 chords in the truth. You know, it's like you got 3 cameras and you're live, and it used to fade in and boom, and then they did it, and then they were done.
So
and I went,
good.
That's the energy of that is incredible. Let's see if we can recreate that. And and I don't think people realise how heavily edited everything is. Even a live thing nowadays is still chopped up. I can see where it's been so chopped into, something. Whereas when you're live and you're making, for example, we did a cooking show, when you have to put the stuff on the stove and cook it for 15 minutes, it's going to take the whole 15 minutes.
When you burn something,
and when you burn something. So we were doing a show with another one of the MasterChef judges, Ray McVinney over here, and he said, Monique, I was doing the production. Monique was doing that, talking.
I was the
he was
MC.
cooking. He said, Monique, watch that chicken there. Make sure it doesn't burn. What happens? Burns.
Oh no.
Hey, we're live. And he goes, you know what? Things like this happen all the time in everyone's kitchens. Let's just start again. So tipped it all out, washed the pan,
It was
started
beautiful.
again. And
It
goes,
was
right.
a teachable moment.
Yeah.
That sounds very Julia Child is what that sounds like to me.
Yeah.
I loved her. It was see again. She did live TV,
Yeah.
and because with so many businesses, marketing guidelines and branding guidelines became so tight, and you can and can't say these things. That for most people, one of the brands we've worked with is a I can't say the name because it's a very big international kitchenware brand. They said before we do a live, you'll need to read these marketing and branding guidelines. It was 126 pages
Oh yeah.
of what you can and can't say. And luckily I'm really good with that sort of stuff. I've been trained to do that sort of thing. But that's why a lot of people are so scared, because they're scared of saying something wrong.
Right.
And yet you have an opportunity to say everything that is so right and so true and so authentic. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I love that. That's really, really cool. I'm loving this interview too. I'm picking stuff up that I never thought I was going to pick up. I mean, I knew I had like an idea of what you guys did. I didn't realize how heavily oriented it was toward the live presentation. And I mean, right now I'm wishing like we had another hour to do, because I mean, I'm loving this. I'm really enjoying this. This is really cool. You're actually making me rethink my model, to be perfectly honest. Yeah.
I would issue, it's not even a challenge. I would open up the potential of what's possible to anyone who listens to this podcast to give live a go. And specifically with Facebook as an example, you have an opportunity not just to broadcast out to your people, but for them to engage with you and be part of that conversation. You can see those comments in real time, like you just said before. Well, you had somebody mention about somebody with Auckland. When you're creating more engagement, you're creating more brand loyalty as well. When people feel like there is no barrier between you and them, you will create better customers, you'll create better relationships. Those people will become your cheerleaders. So when we've taught people to live stream, we've said, don't get stuck in your script. If people come on, acknowledge them. If you see their name pop up, acknowledge them and say hello.
Sure.
Don't get so bogged down in the detail that you forget about the reality of the conversation and being with people. We do it when we go to a bar. We talk to everyone. We talk to our mates. We acknowledge them. Think of your live as being in one giant bar and having a damn time.
That is so funny. Have one on the house.
I think that from my kind of angle, I think everybody is afraid of looking stupid, and it's a really big fear. That motivates us to not do a lot of things. Like, it really is a super motivator. We will just let most opportunities go past us because we're just afraid to take that leap. And so when I first started, I was in a band, and then I went solo as a musician. And before I did it, I spent a month out in the garage going through my set list every single day. I'd go right through I'd go through three sets of a 4-set night, 3, and then do the next 3, and then the next 3. I just went round and round and round and round. And I was cracking myself the first time I got up by myself to do the whole show, a whole night in a bar. And I still screwed things up. But then it's like, I've got to do more practice. So what I'm really saying is you've got to rehearse. You've got to know your stuff. You just can't get on. And so what we do is we take people through a whole process of knowing their stuff and getting it right, because there's no point in going live if you're just going to go and you don't know it. You've actually got to know it. It's got to fall out of your mouth. It's got to be in
your muscle memory.
So when people go, oh, wow, you guys make it look so easy. No, we've worked really, really hard to make it look this easy. And so I'm
agree.
you know, we'll get people to turn up and they'll, you know, we call it red light fever. You know, as soon as the red recording light goes on, they forget their own name. They literally do. We've had people in tears. We've had people go, my name is, you know,
Oh, no.
It's that, because it is, and I appreciate it, that's scary because I've been through that situation myself. I was one time I had not been on camera, and then I went on camera, and I was I was useless. I was absolutely useless. But what I did is I didn't let that stop me. I went, you know what? I can do this. And I went away and I rehearsed for like 4 days. And then I recorded myself. I videoed myself because you can do it. You just, you know.
You got the tools.
It's right here. You know, it's right there. Record, you know, and the amount of people who just won't actually rehearse or won't actually record themselves and look at themselves. I don't like the way I look.
I don't like the sound of my voice.
Yeah, you're never going to get over that unless you actually get over that. There's only one way to get over it, which is get on there and do it and keep doing it until one day. And one day it clicked. One day I went, there I am on camera. Now I know who I am. Now I know how to get my rhythm of my voice going right, how to stop saying and because I've got my stuff already in there. That's and yeah, sure, I might still look at myself and go, wow, I look like an idiot, but it doesn't matter anymore. You know, there's a certain stage where you get past that and you just go, actually, I'm not too bad. Actually, I don't mind this. And then and you get your stuff right and you get your scripts right and not so much like scripted, but you get your points right. You know, the stuff we've been talking to you today about, you know, that falls out of our mouths because we're always doing it. We're always talking to people about it. So it's, you know, my tri-brand thing, you know, you're talking about how we do that. It's like I use that in every single business meeting or client meeting that we have. I remind them of those three things. So it's easy, but it wasn't always that easy, you know.
Well, you also did the right thing because you hooked up with Monique. I mean, you knew she had what you were looking for there.
Yeah. I hooked up with him.
Well, it was both ways. It was both.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you need him for the tech side. He needed you to basically teach him the live side. It was a perfect marriage. It really was.
It actually was. And again, at our 10-year anniversary, we were sitting there going, what the hell are we doing? Geez, that's been cool.
You've been doing something right, and that's a great thing. Hey, before we part company, and I say those words with great sadness, but I'm not kidding. I'm enjoying this so much, and I think our listeners are too. But before we part company, give people an idea how they can reach out to you, because there's probably somebody listening, probably me too, who wants to reach out and learn more about what you're offering. So tell people about that.
Awesome. Thank you. So our main business, I say business in inverted commas because it's just got to be about play and fun, to be fair. But our main business website is called wedofamous.com. So that's where we that's, I guess, what you could say is our corporate business brand, which has a picture of a zebra on it because, of course, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's our business. And then so that's where we take people through our methodologies and we teach them to find their voice, become confident on camera, look at how to utilize digital platforms to reach their audiences and the whole sort of gamut of what that takes to choreograph that into a beautiful synchronous dance. And then we help people through internet publishing and broadcasting as well. So being able to work with people, and that's through Guide to Better Living. And that's where we really... a lot of the people want to learn the methodology, but they don't have the audience, whereas we do. So being able to publish people's articles to our platform it's an online magazine platform, and you've got everything that pertains to living and lifestyle. So everything from pets to parenting to spirituality. Well, that's one we'd like to get more content around. Cooking, everything you can imagine.
Business,
health,
weddings.
well-being, sexuality, anything. Weddings is a big one. Fashion. Health, well-being, all that sort of thing. So that's our publishing side. And then we have our broadcasting side. So that's the Guide to Better Living TV show. So we feature brands and businesses in that. And yes, we can work with people remotely to do to bring them in and interview them. well. So we can feature anybody from around the world on that show. We've just worked with a beautiful company in America called Ringora, who does luxury body bath products. And we did a demonstration around why dry brushing your skin is really helpful for your health and well-being. So she sent me, Cindy sent me all her beautiful brushes and products, and then I did the demonstration here in New Zealand. So she has a great piece of content that she can use for her own marketing, but we were able to leverage her out to our audiences as well. So a beautiful international partnership there, and she's part of our beautiful village too.
So that's guidetobetterliving.tv is the website.
.tv, okay, I'll make a note of that too, because I'll put them in the show notes so that people can more easily just click and get there, and make it easy for people, right? You got to make it easy. Yeah,
I agree.
That's been my philosophy for years. Well, I got to tell you, like I said, I'm really sad that we're finishing this, but boy, this has been a great visit. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Truly, really appreciate it.
Thank you. And gosh, it's been super lovely. And I now feel bad because I didn't give you guys enough time to talk. We're supposed to share the platform together. But I hope you can take some of our New Zealand energy and share that with the world.
Yes.
And spread the joy. And I really do wish anyone listening to today's show so much joy and so much happiness. I hope they're having fun and playing in their space and bringing their joy to the world as well, because I think the world needs that right now.
Totally agree. I love this. So thank you much, Alex. As usual, thank you so much too for all that you do, and I'm glad you're continuing to heal. Keep on that path, girl, because you know how much we love you here. Dan, of course, he's probably tuning in, so Dan, we missed you, but and you missed a good one, but you didn't miss it entirely because you were tuned in. I'm sure you were. So thank you very much. Thank you to our podcast listeners everywhere, and we'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.